Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Wednesday, June 8th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen at 5 p.m. This meeting is being held virtually. Before we begin, I have to do the roll call because we are virtual. If I call your name, just say aye or raise your hand, I guess. Beth Heller, I'm here. Paul Kyriakos,
Here.
thank you. Uh, Sheila McCrevin,
Here.
thank you. And David Vogel.
Here.
Wonderful. A couple of our selectmen are unable to make it this evening, but we do have a quorum. Administrative Officer, Director of Finance, Tony Genovese.
Here.
Assistant Administrative Officer, Betsy Yagla.
Here.
Town Council, Jerry Weiner.
Here.
Clerk, Geraldine Shaw.
Here.
And Media Specialist, Pool Ford. She's working very hard behind the scenes. Thank you for that. Item 1 on the agenda is the first selectman's remarks, which I will begin. Again, good evening and welcome to the June 8th, 2020 regular meeting of the Woodbridge Board of Selectmen. First, I have some updates to share with everyone regarding the 2 new building committees that have both begun their most important work. The Ad Hoc Community Center Building Committee had their first meeting, and the charge will now include how to best use the building and the Grove area, as well as the library lawn. The Ad Hoc Center Building Renovation Committee also had their first meeting and also requested a revision to their charge. It now reads, the committee will work to plan, design, construct, and recommend financing for upgrades to convert the center building into a modern space for offices, classrooms, and programs, as well as a modernized police department. They will conduct and complete a thorough analysis and make suggestions for all building systems, including electric, plumbing, HVAC, technology infrastructure, building envelope, including roofs, windows, and insulation, and finishes. The scope of the project includes all areas of the center building, including the gym, police department, human services office, and daycare rooms, but does not include the senior center space currently under renovation, which is a kitchen, restroom, lounge, and cafeteria. The committee shall apply best practices for sustainable design, including the use of sustainable and energy efficient products and materials, LEED certification if applicable, and the possible use of green energy and other techniques, and seek grant opportunities to fund or offset the additional potential costs of these initiatives. Last week, I received a phone call from Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro. If you recall, since 2019, I've been working with her office to get an Army Corps of Engineer feasibility study seeking recommendations remediation in Lower Woodbridge along the West River and Knowles Pond. She called to let me know that the Army Corps of Engineers has finally signed off on phase 1 of the study, which will determine the cost of the second level study that will recommend if and or how we should proceed to alleviate flooding in the area. Over the years, flooding has become an increasing problem as more and more silt has built up in the pond and there is nowhere for the water to go when it rains. Removing the Pond Lily Dam alleviated some of the problem, but it still remains that almost every time we have a storm, the houses and the businesses in the area flood. Hopefully, this is at least a beginning to solving a dreadful problem for these folks. Unfortunately, this is moving much slower than I would have hoped, but we do have some progress in the right direction. As an update to the town's housing study plan, as you recall, the Board of Selectmen at a special meeting on May 25th, 2022, voted to approve and adopt the Affordable Housing Plan, which was prepared by the town's Housing Study Committee. The plan was submitted to the Secretary of the Office of Policy and Management, State of Connecticut, on May 31st. I'm extremely pleased that the committee completed its work by the state deadline of June 1st, 2022, as well as the Board of Selectmen acting in a timely fashion to submit the plan. Woodbridge is one of only about half of the towns and cities in the state of Connecticut that submitted its plan prior to the deadline. I had Jerry Shaw send out this afternoon a letter, which was in today's New Haven Register, an opinion from I believe, the editorial board of the New Haven Register, entitled, Was Housing Deadline Missed or Ignored? And it's for everyone to read. It will be a part of the packet. Hopefully you guys all got it this afternoon. And it comes out 2 things, just sentences that I just want to read to you. It says, it wasn't only affluent towns such as Greenwich, Darien, New Canaan, and Westport that failed. Cities including Norwalk, Bridgeport, Hartford, and Waterbury missed the deadline as well. These municipalities are supposed to reveal when they would eventually meet their obligation. Only about 18 did report being on track to filing soon. So I'm proud that we got it done. That evening, we heard and received comments from several residents who were unhappy about the town-owned properties listed as sites which may be considered for housing. The mere fact that those properties were listed by the committee in no way means that they will be sites for housing. The chair of the Housing Committee, Attorney Dom Thomas, told the Board of Selectmen that those sites, as well as other privately owned properties, were included due to their size and access to sewer and water. And I want to reiterate and be perfectly clear. No recommendation to use any of those sites was made by the committee. Also, the filing of the plan does not limit the town's ability to modify the plan at any time in the future. As a matter of fact, the law requiring the filing of a plan allows the town to regularly review and maintain such plan, and the town may adopt amendments as the town deems necessary. The town has a wide discretion to amend the plan at any time after filing and also must review the plan every 5 years. As you are aware, the Woodbridge Dog Park Cooperative sought and received approval for installation of a water fountain next to the dog park at the Fitzgerald property. Working cooperatively, the Regional Water Authority agreed to install and pay for the water line, and the Dog Park Cooperative will pay the water bill. I'm happy to report that the water pump is installed and the water is on, just in time for summer. It's my understanding that it will be locked each night around sunset and unlocked each morning as a precaution against any misuse or accidentally leaving it on or on vandalism. Well done, everyone who was a part of this. I remind everyone that it's the third Amity Board of Education budget referendum will be held on Tuesday, June 14th from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. in the town library meeting room. Please note that the location has changed. Usually our referenda and elections are held in the center building gym. However, there is no HVAC in that room and it can be stifling on a hot day. In planning for all weather conditions, the registrars decided to change the poll location. Since our last meeting, I attended the Community Council's first ever community bike ride. We safely held the annual town meeting at Amity Regional High School on May 16th. I attended the regular Board of Finance meeting. I met with Nicole Donzello, the CUPOP chair, and Sheila McCrevin, our liaison to CUPOP, to discuss potential projects for that group. I attended the Woodbridge Volunteer Fire Association Spring Fling fundraiser. I met with UI, Fire Chief Sean Rowland, PD Chief Frank Cappiello, DPW Director Warren Connors, and Tony Genovese to discuss and update our annual storm preparations. I attended the monthly SCROG meeting and met with Superintendent Dr. Byers and other BOA first selectmen. We held the town's annual Memorial Day ceremony, and over the course of 2 days, the town hosted the Beecher Road School third grade students where they learned about local government. I attended the volunteer tea that is organized annually by the Human Services Department, and I gave the first Selectmen's Youth Award to Ava Shambron. What an accomplished, impressive young lady. There were several graduations coming up as well. It certainly has been a busy time. Thank you. And with that, we will go to item 2 on the agenda, which is the Woodbridge Board of Education. Superintendent Dr. Budd.
I bet. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Thank Jonathan. Is this your last time with us before
Well,
you take your position?
You could always call another special meeting, Beth. So I hate to say it's the last time, but it's the
Okay.
last scheduled time.
Okay, that's a good
You
way.
know, Beth, in writing my brief remarks, I had forgotten how excited the third graders were to come over to town hall and hear from you, and also other members of your staff. Right? I had pictures texted to me. Oh, what's that now?
Look what they sent me
Oh, beautiful. That's nice.
half hour ago with
Wow.
pictures, and we had to be outside, and we had a picture with all the
Yeah.
kids in front of the town hall. It was
One of
lovely. It was really.
one of those could be the first selectman of the future in 50 years, right?
I
And
told
they'll
them.
remember
I
that.
told them that.
Well, back to my prepared remarks. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. I want to start by letting you know that the Board of Education's Finance Committee will be meeting tonight, as well as next Tuesday night, to begin reconciling the district's operating budget for next year based on the appropriation from the town. The Board of Education will ultimately vote on a final reconciliation at its June 20th meeting. This is the perfect opportunity for me to express the district's appreciation to you, the Board of Finance members, and the entire town of Woodbridge for your fiscal support, including through the approved capital budget. I've said before, and I'm not the only one to say, that Beecher Road School is the jewel of this community, and your support will continue that jewel shining, not just next year, but also far into the future. It doesn't happen without each of you. I appreciate that. We're having a wonderful final several weeks at Beecher. Last night was our instrumental music concert, band and strings for grades 4 through 6. Over 150 students participated, and over 650 adults attended in 2 phases. It was a marvelous celebration of the arts. Next Friday, as Beth has mentioned, will be the Beecher Road School graduation, another wonderful celebration of our community. If you would like to attend along with Beth, just let me know, and we'd be happy to put a ticket and a reserved parking space aside for you. Right, Beth? That's welcome for everybody, right?
Absolutely. Sure.
And finally, as Beth mentioned last month, I'll be moving to a leadership opportunity in another district at the end of this month. I will be replaced on an interim basis by someone familiar to many of you, Christine Syriac. And our interim director of business services and operations, Richard Hewitt, who has served us since Al Pulo's retirement, will be replaced at the same time by Donna Coonan, who impressed our interview committees, the Board of Education, and Mr. Genovese with her knowledge and experience in municipal and school district finance. Donna will be a wonderful permanent asset to Woodbridge. I want to make sure that I end my final remarks to you by thanking each of you and all of you as a group very sincerely for your support during my time in Woodbridge. I don't have to tell you, Woodbridge is a wonderful community, and it's due in no small part to your leadership at the town level. And I've said before, your inclusion of this superintendent's report on every town council meeting agenda says a lot itself about your dedication to the working together of the town and the Board of Education. Finally, I want to pay special thanks to Beth and to Tony Genovese for their specific, thoughtful, positive support and collaboration, as well as to our town liaison when I began, Sandy Stein, and now Sheila McRevan, because they put quite a lot in behind the scenes. Thank you very much, Beth.
Well, thank you very much. Anyone have any comments or questions for Dr. Budd?
I'd just like to first thank you, Jonathan, for your kind words, and also wish you the best in your upcoming new challenges. And it has been a great pleasure to work with you. So thank you.
Anyone else? Well, I will echo Sheila's comments and wish you well on your journey. Do keep in touch. Once you're in Woodbridge, you're always part of Woodbridge. Take care, Jonathan. Thank you again. And I'll see you next Friday. That's outdoors, so I know we'll be okay. All right. Item 3 on the agenda is action on the Little Free Library project with Girl Scout Troop 60163. Tamara, and I believe there's a few girls. I'm not sure, Jerry. Maybe you could let them in, please. There they are. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Beth Heller. I'm the first selectman, and I'm going to turn the meeting over to you. You're in front of the Board of Selectmen, and we have pictures in our packet, and it's just wonderful, and we're very excited to hear from you as to what your plan is. So the floor is, or the square is yours.
All right, so we don't need to share the screen because you have the information? Okay, so go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sabine. My name is Amity.
And I'm Tamara Lynn, and we're from?
Troop 60163.
And we're here to talk to you about
The Little Library. Why a little library? We worked on the world of Girls Brownie Journey. We learned about different Girl Scout traditions, about our family stories, and being aware of unique stories around us. In order to complete our world of Girls Brownie Journeys, We need to make the world a better place by doing something that will last indefinitely. We thought a little library was a great fit for this jam-packed story journey. By providing a little library, we will be giving all Woodbridge residents free and easy access to a variety of books, which will make residents' lives better. Where? Fitzgerald's Park, by the parking lot near Fitness Field or the picnic table. Why? The troop would like to put it there because many people walk there. It also allows people with dogs to sit and read while the dogs play. The circle in the front
Of the picture.
is where we are leaning towards.
I had been emailing with Betsy Yagla and she spoke to Parks and Rec and they like the front area near the trail sign. So that's probably where we would like to put it.
One-story library, approximate external dimensions.
13.5 by 16. So it's not too big, not too small, just right.
Provides 5-foot library post with topper kit.
We can provide a 5-foot library post with topper kit if the Parks and Rec Department would like us. And then for upkeep, we would be, as a troop, deciding each girl would have a month that we would make sure we'd check on it and make sure it was well stocked.
We the girls of Troop 60163, thank you for considering our request.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for us?
Thank you so much. Anyone from the board have any questions? You did a wonderful job with the presentation, and thank you for the photos in advance. It's very clear. I think this is a wonderful thing. Any of the board have any quick questions?
I have a quick question for you, and I don't know, girls, if you know, but do you know about when the public might be able to see this? If it gets approved tonight, will it be done right away?
September.
Is it September?
Yes, September. We're so what we will do is we will order the kit once it's approved, and then we will make time for the girls to put it together and paint it. And then we will be done and ready for it to be put up by the end of August, or about the time they start school.
Well, that sounds like an exciting way to cap off your summer and get ready for fall.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. Great job, by the way. You guys are so poised and grown up. Beautiful job. With that, I will make a motion that we approve the Little Feet Library project for Girl Scout Troop 60163 as presented this evening to the Board of Selectmen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anyone have any other comments on the motion?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're just
Thank
going
you
to
very
call
much.
we just have to approve the motion. We have to do it because we're virtual one at a time. So Beth Heller says aye. Paul Kirikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Awesome. Wonderful. It's done. It's approved. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Come back
Thank you. Have a good
anytime.
night.
Take care. Thank you again. Item 4 on the agenda is Liaison Reports, and I will call on David Vogel first, if it's good.
Thank you. Attended the GATV commission, for which there was not a quorum, so we had a general discussion, but no action was taken. And they will be continuing to work on their bylaws and that sort of thing. Library Commission, because of the oddity of the calendar this month, we're ahead of that. So they haven't met between now and our last board meeting. They will meet next week. And as for the Recreation Commission, well, we did not have a chair at our last meeting, so Smith Mowry ran the meeting. Oddly enough, this far into our pandemic, we are still having lots of connection problems with running virtual meetings. I'm not sure exactly what the problem was this time, but it does point out that these meetings do have their limitations. We did discuss the kids triathlon, which is going to be this Saturday, June 11th. It's Saturday morning from 8 to 11. The swim test is mandatory for any kids running the triathlon. The pool right now is fully filled. The programs are fully filled and it's running. The commission did approve some summer camp staffing issues, and the emergency action plan was endorsed by the commission. There were also some motions for field requests which were approved. And that was it for my liaison report.
Thank you very much. Sheila.
Sure. So for the Woodbridge Board of Education, you heard Dr. Budd mention that the Finance Committee is going to have two meetings, one tonight, one next Tuesday, and then a vote to finalize the changes that they're making to their budget to accommodate the money that's now been approved at our annual town meeting for fiscal year 23. I also had a conversation with our soon-to-be outgoing superintendent, Dr. Budd, about how best to continue the collaborations, the very close collaborations that we're doing with the district there with that new administrative leadership, especially as we work on items that we've highlighted in our strategic plan. So he was very receptive to that, and he'll sort of brief the new team on their way in. So then for CUPOP, they met on the 23rd of May, and they're planning to invite the committee chairs for the two new building committees. So both the Woodbridge Community Center Building Committee for the old firehouse and the Center Building Renovation Committee. So CUPOP would like to hear more about what's going on there and whether there's any role that they would like CUPOP to advise them on. And then the rest of that meeting, they went through a very lengthy list of items that are gleaned from the Plan of Conservation Development that either were directly assigned to CUPOP for responsibility or jointly assigned with either the Conservation Commission or TPZ or a combination of them. So chief among them is to keep updated the list of publicly owned property in the various categories. There's 4 categories of use that are sort of listed out, stipulated in the enabling ordinance for CUPOP. So they figure that is a very straightforward, easy thing for them to start tackling, and they'll begin an update of that list at their June meeting. Just for reference purpose, anyone who's interested in more about that list, it is the final 2 pages of the Plan of Conservation Development, which can be found on the town website, I believe under the TPZ tab. So that last 2 or 3 page list is all publicly owned property. It needs an update because it was last finalized in 2014-15 or so. So they're going to begin work on that. And then they're also going to stand by ready to take on any items that might be assigned to them. Again, especially as we start on items from our strategic plan, if we have a need for CUPOP to help with anything, they are all ears and ready to go with that. So that's my liaison report.
Thank you. And Paul. Paul, I think you're muted. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that. So on the 31st of May, the Amity Board of Education met for a special budget meeting. Our referendums keep not having enough votes to pass. So they are proposing some reductions in certain services to the board, like legal services, reductions in their medical reserve, perhaps some reductions in late buses and so on to get the budget down, in addition to a variety of other things, including reduction of certified staff, instructional supplies, and so on, pay to play for high school sports, a myriad of things, which in my view is starting to cut into the bone in order to get this budget to pass, we had an hour set aside for public comment. They reserved the first 30 minutes for positive comments in favor of the budget, and those wishing to speak against the budget would go at the bottom of the hour. The second or third speaker in the against session went a bit long. He went over his time, and the board decided to close the session at that time. And then folks were invited to come in one at a time and say their piece. And that's really all I have to report about the about my liaison reports.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
With that, the next item is public comments not till 6 o'clock, or the public hearing, which is scheduled for 6:30. So in the meantime, we will move, with your permission, item 7, Administrative Officer Director Finance Report. I will call on Tony Genovese to get us going.
Okay, hello there, everyone. I have a monthly report through May of 2022. The first thing I just want to mention is there's been a lot of talk just recently about the in relation to the Amity budget about the surplus. So I thought I'd give you some information about the Woodbridge's experience with the surplus. So over the last 3 years, we've used 100% of the surplus to offset taxes or to offset the budget. So that's almost $2 million. And over the past, also did a 5-year history, and we received about $3.7 million over the last 5 years, and of that, about 78% of it is going to offset the budget, and the remainder is there was 1 year or in 2 years we used some of the funds to offset deficit at Beecher School, and that was about 8%. And then the remainder either went into some capital projects or just went to fund balance. So that sort of gives you a history of the last 5 years of the Amity surplus. So I thought you'd find that interesting. In terms of the month-end report, we have a surplus of just over $800,000, of which we have an allocation of fund balance of $400,000. So that leaves us a little over $400,000 addition to our fund balance at the end of the year. That brings us to a little over $7 million fund balance, or about 13.8% of our annual budget. The big change this year, this month rather, was we received additional funds, FEMA funds from the storm that we did not anticipate. So that's close to $200,000 in FEMA funds that we did not anticipate. Now, these reimbursement funds are in fact a surplus in the current year, but remember those are funds that we spent in a prior year that we were being reimbursed. So it's not, in grand scheme of things, it's not actually a surplus. It's a reimbursement of expenditures that we paid out back a few years back. And so and at that time we did a combination of some transfers from contingency and just eliminating some projects and some expenditures in the public works budget and in police to help offset those expenditures. So that's a good portion of the surplus this year. We also received additional $255,000 in special education excess cost grant funds. Again, those are reimbursements from for special education costs that we try to budget for, but we received a considerable amount more this year than we had anticipated at the start of the budget process. So those are really the two large revenue items that we've experienced this year. We do have a deficit in our interest income, which I'm guessing will probably start to next year. We'll do much better there. as rates have gone up a little. And a third revenue item is our building permits. We received a surplus there of about $200,000. So with just those three alone, it's like $600,000 of the surplus. So those are our revenue highlights for the year. In our expenditures, we have building official department is $30,000 surplus. Primarily, there's a savings in wages in that department. With transfer stations, should have a surplus about $18,000. Our recycling amount that we pay for recycling has gone down, and the bulky waste tonnage is reduced also. So that'll generate a little bit of a surplus. And in human services in the library, each have savings in part-time wages due to the introduction of programs as a result of the pandemic subsiding. And so each of those have a surplus, 35,000 in the human services and 42,000 in the library. I believe those are both those departments are now fully staffed. A lot of that was earlier in the year. And finally, the Woodbridge Board of Education, and there, as of May 1, had a surplus of $22,000. So those are the highlights of the month. Any questions or?
Okay, with that, we'll move on to item B under Tony's report, tax refunds. You have in your packet a memo from our tax collector, Pat Crisco, and there are no personal property refunds this month, nor real estate refunds. However, there are motor vehicle refunds for $2,701.69. That is the total. I'll make a motion that we approve the refunds. Is there a second? Anybody out there? Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you, guys. Any comments, questions, or discussions on that? Hearing none, I will call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kuriakose,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Item, let's see, C is funding requests, and we have quite a few. Let's see, we'll begin with first one. That's a good place to start, right? Number one. There's a request for funding number 2122-15 in the amount of $40,000 to fund the removal of an underground heating oil storage tank at Beecher Road School that was eliminated from FY23 capital budget. And that is coming from contingency to construction account. I'll make a motion. We can talk about it after. I'll make a motion that we approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or
I just have a general comment.
Go ahead.
So most of these funding requests are items that were eliminated from the budget with the intent of using contingency to fund these and they're eliminated from the budget for next year to help reduce the budget. This is happens from time to time as the town is very conservative with its contingency use and only really uses it in case of an emergency. So this year we had over $100,000 left in our contingency of 150. So we had very little use of our contingency. We definitely encourage our departments not to rely on it and to find shortfalls from within their budget, which they do very well. So that's what a lot of these are, which were approved by when you were recommended by the selectmen, and then when they went to the finance board eliminated them with hopes of using contingency to fund them.
Very good information, Tony. Thank you for that. I probably should have called on you first. Apologies, but that's great. Okay, so we have a motion and a second for the first one. Any comments other than Tony's comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question. So Tony, I remember this removal of the oil tank at Beecher originally was proposed by the Woodbridge Board of Education, but in what we're doing here, the cost to remove it is going to be borne by the town side of the budget. Is that correct?
So the Woodbridge Board of Education put it in their capital budget.
Okay.
So we would have,
It's the town side
town
too.
would have, correct, right. So the town would have paid for it anyway. So in this, we're just, eliminating it for industry.
Thank you.
And in both cases, the town and there's another one for the town oil tank. In both cases, the town is using its employees to significantly offset the cost of both removals. It's an example of where we work together.
That is excellent. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing nothing, I'll call the question. David Vogel,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
and Beth Heller, aye. Thank you so much. The next item is funding request number 2122-16 in the amount of $35,000. Tony, you want to elaborate on this one?
This is a oil tank at the country club that we will be abandoning, and it's an oil storage tank at the fire station. So there are a couple that we're going to be eliminating, and this will pretty much complete all of our underground storage tanks are now all removed.
That's great.
Or abandoned. In the case of the fire station, it's going to be abandoned in place because of its unique location. It's underneath the where some of the 9/11 section is in the front.
Oh, the memorial area there?
Memorial, right.
Oh,
So
that's
it would be very disruptive to remove it. So in that case, I believe we're abandoning it in place, which there's a process for.
good.
Yeah.
This is again from contingency.
Contingency, right.
Mentioned earlier. Great.
But there are safety protocols that we will follow for that abandonment, right, Tony?
Right. We have a licensed environmental professional, which is basically a state licensed professional who will oversee the all three removals or all three, 2 removals and 1 abandonment. So they'll make sure the paperwork is filed properly, the abandonment is done properly. If for some reason there's any oil residue around any of the tanks, I don't think so because all of them are new, especially the country club and the fire station ones they're both new. So those shouldn't have any problems. I'm not sure about the school, but I know those 2 are new on the newer side.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve funding request 2122-16, the amount of $35,000.
Second?
Well, okay. It's actually asking to make the motion, trying to keep it,
Okay, so moved.
fix it up here a little.
I'll second that then.
Thank you. All right.
Second.
Any other discussion, comments? Thank you. Okay, with that, Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Next item is, I'll make a motion and then we can talk about it, to approve funding request number 2122-17 in the amount of $37,000. And I'll let Tony explain this one. I had a question about it, which I asked him already, so he can maybe fill us in on that as well.
Sure. So
I'll second the motion.
the capital, the budget request is for $37,000 to replace the fire marshal vehicle. You'll see a memo by the chief. The original request was $40,000 in the budget. The Board of Finance, it had been cut to 20, but after reviewing the prices of cars and the just the costs involved, we needed another $17,000 to bring it to 37,000. So that's why you'll see his memo is requesting another 17 because it was 20 in the budget and then 17 extra would be 37. So that's the reason for that. But this is to replace the fire marshal's vehicle, which is in bad shape, as you can see by the memo from the chief. And he uses that a lot for inspections and responses to scenes.
So the total cost of the vehicle is 37?
No, well, it's 50 because there's going to be we already have 13 from last year's budget.
Okay.
So it's 50 with there's going to be there's some equipment, there's lights, et cetera, et cetera.
So we have a motion and a second, I think. Any other questions for Tony on this? Hearing none. Call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kirikos,
Aye.
David Vogel,
Aye.
and Sheila McCrevin.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item, funding request number 2122-18 in the amount of $15,000. I'll motion approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Tony, maybe you want to explain this one, please?
Sure, this is the second part of a request from the police department. The first for $14,500 was approved last year, for the current year and this year's, 22 budget. And this is to convert their door access to electronic locks like the rest of the town. The fire department, the town hall, the library, the center building are all electronic, public works are all electronic. And so this is to convert the police department to an electronic system. This is the second half of that. The first half was for the exterior doors and the computer, and the second half is for some critical areas inside the police department.
Any questions for Tony or comments? Okay, I will call the question. I gotta start again. David Vogel,
Aye.
Paul Kirikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and Beth Heller. Aye. Thank you. Moving on, funding request number 2122-19, the amount of $1,806 to purchase a replacement Taser X26-P with a holster. It looks like the funding was eliminated in the FY23 budget, Tony?
Correct.
Yeah.
For the similar reason.
So this is also contingency to the police department. I'll make a motion that we approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, David. Any other comments, questions for Tony on this? Okay, with that, David Vogel,
Aye.
Paul Kirikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and Beth Heller. Aye. Thank you. Next line item transfer 2122-20 in the amount of $26,000. I'll make a motion that we approve it. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Maybe Tony, you want to explain this?
So we did a survey of the senior center area to identify any asbestos that may possibly exist, and we found it in on some pipes, pipe insulation, some and underneath some tiles, some glue underneath some tiles that we'll be replacing. It's like 3 areas, I believe, where there was some asbestos. So we have to remediate that before we start the project. So there were a capital project that was completed. So I was able to close that project and transfer it for this purpose, which is the request.
Great.
We're going out, the bids are due back on the 22nd of June for the senior center project. So you'll be seeing those results in your July meeting. And so we're almost there. This is one of the last steps before we hopefully start the move forward on that project.
Wonderful.
What's the request for the waiver of the bid process? What is that?
Because of the timing of it, that's later on in the agenda. Instead of going out for a sealed bid where we put in the paper and on the website, and we waited 30 days, and because that would take so much time, and we have to get this in because it'll delay the project, and then the project's got to be completed because the grant has a deadline. It's a series of deadlines that we have to abide by. This could have slowed that down. So what Brad did was get 3 quotes from qualified companies to get, just so it's similar to a bid, only it wasn't a sealed bid and it was made public. That's really the only difference. But that would have taken us a lot of time to put together. That's why we went this route.
Okay.
So are we going to motion to do the bid waiver as part of this, Tony?
I would do that separately later on in the agenda.
I don't see it on the agenda, but maybe I'm missing it. But
It's under D3, asbestos removal.
Got it. Okay. Got it. Yep, I see it now. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so at least we'll approve the funding and then hopefully the bid waiver will come.
Then you can discuss how to pay for it.
Do we have a motion and a second for this? We do. Thanks, David. Okay, any other comments or questions for Tony on this? Hearing none. Sheila McCrevin,
Taking us out of order, trying to keep us on our toes.
trying to keep myself going on my toes.
Aye.
Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Yeah, at least Beth Heller remembers to say aye this time instead of last meeting when I'm just sitting there waiting for myself to answer. Okay, that passes. Thank you. Line item transfer number 2122, I'm sorry, 2122-21 in the amount of $59,810.18. Tony, perhaps before we make a motion, you could explain this one, please.
This is similar to the funding we received from I believe it was Stratford, a few months back, where they had been in discussions with, in this case, the city, on getting reimbursed for costs that go back several years. And so because it's from a prior year, they can't just to recognize the revenue as a for the Board of Education, because it's a prior year expenditure. So that's why the town would receive the funds, but the board would like to use this to offset, which I believe they were planning for in their budget, to offset some one-to-one special education costs for this year.
Thank you for that. Okay. I'll make a motion approval of line item transfer 2122-21 in the amount of $59,810.18. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tony on this?
I had a quick question, Tony. Is this 59,000? Is this part of what makes up the $22,000?
Correct. That's correct. Yeah. So we'll probably get some of it back, but I don't. They're probably not like right on the. They're being conservative just to make sure that the 22 is correct. But yes, that is part of the 22.
So they're recognizing this already. It's not going to make the 22 bigger.
No, it will not.
All right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I will call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is bid awards.
We have Warren Connors here.
Yep, here he is.
Yes, he's on.
Yeah. I see him joining in.
I'm here if you got questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first bid award is bid number 2022-07, refuse container hauling. There's a memo in your packet to the board from Tony. Maybe you want to elaborate, and I guess Warren, as you said, is here for.
Warren's here if there's any questions, right? So the town went out to bid for refuse. Basically, it's hauling from the transfer station to the destination for wherever either the municipal solid waste, recycling, bulky waste, various things, brush, and so we received 3 bids, and the low bid was Country Disposal for $188,927.50. And that's just an estimate based on the number of hauls we anticipate doing throughout the year. That's the main item here is how much per haul. So you'll see if there's a spreadsheet attached, but for instance, MSW $275 per haul, $225 for single stream recycling, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really the per haul price that you're approving in the contractor. We've checked the references. We haven't used them before, but Warren checked the references, and I believe they came out very positive. Correct, Warren?
Yes, all of them were favorable, and they've been using this company for 5 years or more.
That's good. Anyone have any other questions? With that, I will move acceptance of bid. I'm sorry, I would move to award the contract to the low bidder Country Disposal Services located in Wallingford, Connecticut for 1 year with a possible option for years 2 and 3 in the amount of hauling services 188,927.50. Is that all you need? Good enough?
That's good enough, yep.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tony or Warren?
I just want to comment that based on their performance and the bid results that we received, we'll make an evaluation after the end of year 1, whether we want to continue with year 2 and possibly year 3. Depending where the market is, where costs are going,
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? I'm sorry if I didn't ask before. Okay, hearing none. Paul Kuriakose.
Oh, aye.
Beth Heller, aye. David Vogel
Aye.
and Sheila McCrevin.
Aye.
Thank you so much. A lot of stuff here tonight, Tony. Okay, next item is catch basin cleaning, bid number 2022-08. The town opened bids in June for catch basin cleaning. And, well, maybe you want to just explain, Tony or Warren.
Warren can explain what that is.
Yeah, we service our catch basins in town on an annual basis for good drainage practices and compliance with the MS4 stormwater issues. And we have roughly 1,639 basins in town that are done. Some of them are deep and some of them are, standard depth, which is 8 feet. The deep ones are can go down 13 or more feet. And the vendor that bid is the apparent low bidder. We've been using them in the past. You can see by some of the bids that I was surprised that more bidders didn't bid, but prices have gone kind of off the charts primarily because of diesel fuel. And, the company that bid, he tried to keep his prices in line because he enjoys working for the town. He's very thorough. And here we are with the bid results with only 2 bidders, but the Janet sweeping was the low one.
Thank you. Any questions for Warren? So with that, I will make a motion that we award the catch basin cleaning bid 2022-08 to Janet Sweeping, as they are the apparent low bidder, and recommend that's $26.50 per catch basin for 1,639 basins, a total of $43,434. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Again, any other comments or questions? Okay, with that, Beth Heller, aye. Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
David Vogel,
Aye.
and Paul Kuriakose.
Aye.
Thank you. Lastly, under bid awards, asbestos removal action is appropriate. Tony, you wanna?
This was the one we discussed earlier for the senior center, and the 3 quotes were received for certified contractors, and the low bid was the Alloy Group. Brad has checked all the references and has is recommending this to the for us to award.
I'm going through my papers here, and for some reason, see it. Okay, it's at the end. It's just not pulled apart. Okay, got it. Okay, we have a memo from Brad. That's what this is about. The building.
Yeah, he did the memo in both. He did the funding and the
Got it.
purchasing part in the same memo.
So you're requesting a waiver of the bid process for the chosen vendor, Ally Group. Okay. I will make a motion that we approve the bid waiver for the chosen vendor, Ally Group, and the amount. Well, we did the funds already, so
Yep.
Okay, he did get 3 quotes. I will note that for the record. I'll make a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Help.
We're
Okay.
all on mute, I think.
So, okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions for Tony and or Warren? Hearing none. Oh, who. Sheila McCrevin.
Aye.
Beth Heller, aye. David Vogel.
Aye.
Paul Kurikos.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Is Warren still needed for this other stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably the most important one is coming up next.
Yep, I see that. I'm glad he's sticking around.
This is the last one for Warren.
Yep, okay, great. All right, we're on item E. It's request for bid waiver. This is the number 1, road milling, paving, use of state contract, and action is appropriate. It's a memo from Warren to Tony, which is in your packet, with the paving program requests and recommendations for 2022. Anybody want to elaborate? There's a list of the roads in page 2 of the memo.
So you'll see a list of the roads that Warren is planning on doing based on the pricing, where that comes in. And also it's basically 2 parts. There's a contractor that does the milling, and then there's a contractor that does the paving. And both of those are on state contract. So this essentially the state goes out to bid and we use their contract to piggyback on. Warren could comment a little further on the pricing and especially with the pricing on the paving, Warren.
Right. What I did is Tilcon was the low bidder in our district, and both of these entities are both the milling and the paving. It's under what they call a vendor in place award, and it goes by the district, meaning the state is divided up in different sections. In our district, Tilcon was the low, and Garrity for us match pricing, and they're both of them have done work for us in the past. And I was at a DOT meeting today in regards to the Route 114 from paving from Orange to Timber Lane. And I had an opportunity to speak with the Tilcon vendor about scheduling and stuff like that. So anyways, the biggest thing that's impacting the paving side of things is escalation because of the fuel costs. Asphalt has taken an enormous jump. And I don't know if I didn't mention it in the memo, but the breakout from Tilcon at the time of the quote was $10.50 a ton. And it could go higher by the time we actually do the work. But both contractors we've used them in the past. They cooperate excellent with the town, both from scheduling and getting the work done. And so that's why the bid waiver request is put on the table for scrutiny.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments or questions for Warren and or Tony on either of these? Can we combine the motions, or do we want to do one each separately?
I would do it separately.
Okay. So with that, I will make a motion that we approve or award actually, this is a bid waiver, even though they're state contracts, it's a bid waiver. Giving a bid waiver to Garrity for the milling and the cost of, is it $104,000?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Is that all you need? Is there a second?
Second.
You could reference Warren's memo also.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay.
With referring to Warren's memo. Thank you, Tony. We have a second. Okay, so any other comments, questions? And I'll call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you. And then I will, referencing Warren's memo, I will recommend that we approve a bid waiver to Tilcon for asphalt application on the proposed roads in the amount of $584,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anything else on that we need? Questions, comments? Great. Okay, with that, I'll call the question. David Vogel,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
Paul Kyriakos,
Aye.
and Beth Heller, aye. Thank you. Okey doke. Phew. Next item under request for bid waiver is S2 door access control system in the police department. A capital project, sole source and action as appropriate. We have a memo from the chief to Tony, which is in our packet, and maybe Tony, you want to elaborate for us, please.
Sure, this is the security system that we discussed earlier for door access control for the police department. The town uses S2 in all of our other departments, including the town hall, library, firehouse, public works, and center building. So we thought it was only appropriate that the police use the same software package.
Thank you. Any questions for Tony? So you need a bid waiver to approve JKS systems for the
Correct.
as outlined in Chief Capiella's memo.
Correct.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Well, you guys are getting fast now. This is good. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Beth Heller, aye. Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
thank you. David Vogel
Aye.
and Paul Kyriakos.
Aye.
Thank you. And let's see, is the interactive budget tool update complicated, Tony?
No, it's very simple.
Go ahead and why don't we do that and then we can go, unless you have an other.
No, that's it. This is it.
Okay.
I just wanted to just give you an update on the so we had last year we used the online budget book for the first time, and I think it went over well, and we got a lot of positive comments on it. That's the public portion of the budget package, which is an online budget book. There's also an interactive budget program that's the back end of that, which allows departments to enter their budget in online, and then the board members, if you're interested, when you go through the budget process, could have access to the online version of the budget book. So instead of having a 3-inch thick binder with a bunch of pages, it'll have an online interactive budget that you can review along with the departments. So it's pretty exciting, and we'll for those who are interested, if those are for some reason, if someone's not interested in a computer version of it, we can certainly put together a paper version. But I think it would be very useful for those who want to use a computer too. So now instead of you'd have history, you'd have access to charts, and all of the budget information will be online, like a virtual version. So
I'm very excited to get started.
Yeah.
God help the town, but I'm going to try.
I think it's about time we stop carrying around this 10-pound binder with all this paper. There's an easier, more efficient,
Yeah,
more productive way to do it.
I agree.
But that was the only workout I got, Tony.
Have to come up with something else, Paul.
Yeah, that's right.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna do the operating budget this year. I'm not sure about the capital. If that may be the old way, but the operating budget will be the new way.
Well, the operating is certainly the giant one, so that the
Right.
4-inch binder is just a killer.
Right.
It's wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. Thank everybody who worked on that, please.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
And when we're further along, I can give you a little demonstration.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Okay.
Great.
So that's it.
Thank you again, and no other. So
Nope.
with that, it's now 6:06, and I will return to item 5, which is public comments. First, I'll ask Mrs. Shaw if there are any comments received by 3 p.m. this evening. 3 p.m. today, correct? This afternoon.
No comments were received.
Thank you. And I have one to read. Unfortunately, we put it in the packet. It was received the day after the meeting. We received a comment from Jim Urbano on Thursday, May 26th at 9:46 a.m. for the meeting that was held the night before, May 25th. So unfortunately, we didn't have it in time to read. So he asked that we read it into the minutes of tonight's meeting, which already happened. So I will just read it tonight. Dear Beth and the Board of Selectmen, this housing report seems to be more aligned with the interests of the affordable housing development lobby than with the interests of town taxpayers. That's wrong. We can't meet the goals of our state's plan of conservation and development by giving up the open land that we've labored to protect. That developers and their lobbyists are coveting our open space is alarming. That this committee is opening a wide door for them is even more alarming. The scope and breadth of this plan is devastatingly overblown and extreme. Please empower a new, more temperate committee that's representative of our population so that a sober consensus may be reached. Thank you. Again, signed by Jim Urbano, and we're reading it this evening. And is there anyone attending the meeting would like to give public comments? I'll turn to Jerry to see if she's got anybody hanging out, waiting to come in.
Yes, there's a woman by the name of Allison.
Okay.
Let me see if I can do this correctly.
Okay. Thank you.
I have unmuted her. Allison, you're unmuted.
Yes, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Ken.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. My name is Allison Valsamis. I live at 26 Mitchell Lane. And I I tried to go to the town hall at 5 o'clock because that's what it said on the website, and the doors were locked. So I frantically found the link. So that's why I wasn't sure how I was going to make a comment without the link. But here I am.
You did well.
So
welcome.
I made it. The June 14th Amity School budget referendum is approaching, and this is going to be the third vote on this budget. The town of Woodbridge has more than 6,000 eligible voters, with only 670 voting in the first referendum and only 873 in the second. I've lived in Woodbridge for 25 years. I'm an Amity graduate. I left for a bit and I returned here to raise my children in the town that I love in the school system. So many of our voters in town don't have children in the Amity Regional District at this time, but are parents of Beecher Road students and younger children. We are tax-paying residents of the town of Woodbridge who are in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, and who are a strong majority in this town, who are committed to becoming involved in all of the facets of the town that we live in. We count on our leadership to provide us with the appropriate resources, information, and communication in order for us to be able to participate fully and actively in our community. It's really important that we provide this type of voting education and communication to every member of our community. A group of 70 of us sent a letter to First Selectwoman Beth Heller, but due to our inexperience participating in these types of matters, we didn't understand that as an elective official, Beth can't use her position to advocate on the referendum, especially now that the date has been set. So as I told you, I frantically tried to get on this meeting tonight because I want to speak on behalf of the letter and to make those feelings public record. We believe the town of Woodbridge should actively encourage all eligible Woodbridge residents to come out and vote on June 14th, but also to educate them why they should support a vote of yes. Voting yes on June 14th obviates further cuts to the Amity Board of Ed's budget. Further cuts will likely impact teachers, staff, and our students and children directly. Voting yes on June 14th saves the town of Woodbridge thousands of dollars on additional referenda. Each referendum costs the town about $4,000. At the end of June 14th, we will have spent $12,000 on these elections. A vote of yes on June 14th supports our public school educators who we have countlessly called upon over the last 3 years to rise to unprecedented expectations with limited resources, creating distant learning, and they continue to meet every challenge, providing our children and our working parents with education, support, and the growth that they need. A vote for yes will show them that it matters. Voting yes on June 14th will help us continue to attract the brightest, most competitive educators to Amity. And this is particularly critical as we know we'll be looking to fill the role of principal at Amity High School. Voting yes invests in our property values in town, which are driven largely in part by the excellent schools and the quality of educators, one that I got to experience firsthand and brought my family here for my kids to have the same experience. So I thank you for your consideration on this request and to your service to the community.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else for public comment, Jerry?
No, I do not see anyone else. And Allison, would you be able to email me your comments so that I can include them in the paper packet that gets filed with the town clerk?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, for sure.
Okay, very good.
Which am I,
Yeah,
who am I emailing that to?
just email them to gshaw
Okay,
at woodbridgect.org.
wonderful. I will get that to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, and there's no one else, right? Okay. Item 8, we can keep going. We have a public hearing at 6:30, so we'll keep going. Item 8 is assigned telecommunications service credit to CMed. You have in your packet a letter from Carrie Thompson, planning specialist at for the state of Connecticut DEMIS, or actually it's the State of Emergency Services and Public Protection. Under the provisions of the state of Connecticut regulations, 28-24-7A and B, every municipality is eligible for a regional telecommunication service credit for coordinated medical emergency direction, also known as CMed services. And in accordance with the provisions of this regulation, this credit shall be based on the factor of 30 cents per capita. Last year, you designated American Medical Response, MedCom, as the recipient of this credit based on the population of 9,074 from the Department of Public Health data. The value of Woodbridge credit for fiscal year 2022-23 is $2,722.20. If you have any questions or need to make changes, you can reach out to CMed. And normally what we do, we have as designated form here, coordinated medical emergency direction, CMed designation, make any corrections if necessary. In accordance with this provision, designates the following CMed providers as a recipient. This is what we do every single year, correct, Tony?
Correct.
So I'll make the motion and we can talk about it further in case people have questions, that we approve this money to be transferred on behalf from to CMed to AMR from CMed. Is that correct? You say that right?
AMR is our CMed provider.
Okay.
So this credit is, or these funds are to be directed to your CMed provider, whoever that is. And so and in the past is AMR MedCom.
Great. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Anyone have any comments or questions on this? Hearing none, I'll call the question. David Vogel,
Aye.
Paul Kyriakos,
Aye.
Beth Helmer, aye, and Sheila McCrevin.
Aye.
Thank you. Right, we can keep going. Item 9 is Strategic Plan American Rescue Plan Act. Ms. McCrevin and Mr. Vogel, take it away.
All right, so we don't have too much of an update. We obviously had presented to the public at the annual town meeting. We got some feedback that night with public comment. We received few other public comments or letters to let us know some additional feedback. And the Strategic Planning Committee has a meeting scheduled, I believe, for Monday. Is that right, Betsy?
Yes.
Okay. The long and short of it, yes. So we'll be taking into consideration those comments and any comments anyone tonight would like to give us. I think one of the kind of challenges we are having from the public is to maybe label what we're doing a little bit more clearly with regard to strategies versus tactics versus goals. And then kind of try to figure out scheduling wise. We're inviting the first selectman to come to our meeting if she's able to attend. And we would like to get a sense of how the board might begin to take on issues over the course of the next year. Because again, this is, as some people have noted, a strategic plan is usually longer than a year, but this is a year because it matches a year plus a little bit will match with the terms in office that we are all share in common right now. So the work of the next Board of Selectmen needs to be sort of completed and then handed over to the next group that is elected. So we don't want to go past our time in office. So those are some of the things we're going to discuss. David, did you want to talk a little bit more about where we are in terms of receiving that input from the public?
Well, I think we welcome any more input that we can get from the public. And also, just as far as tactics go, I believe those are going to be more fluid part of the document as we add tactics to the strategy. So we haven't really gone very deeply into the tactics, just sort of outlining the ones that are already there a little bit. And I think the it's a active document. It's gonna be able to be modified as soon as we put it out there. So not a lot to report until we have our next meeting.
And that's Monday, the 13th?
If it works for you,
Well,
it's Monday the 13th.
okay.
Because we would like to get your input specifically about how we might scope and sequence here of what we might do next.
Check with Betsy on timing and good stuff like that. Okay, looks good.
Right, and so we'll have a further update in July.
Okay, thank you guys, and continuing thanks for doing this. It's really really wonderful. Thank you. Okay, 10 more minutes. Okay, item 10, Assistant Administrator Office Report. Betsy Agla.
Thank you and good evening. I just have a few quick updates about some projects that I'm working on. First of all, yesterday I attended the award ceremony for the Connecticut Economic Development Association's Best Practices Awards. It's a mouthful. They are certifying towns as bronze, silver, and gold based on a variety of policies and procedures that both the EDC and TPC are responsible for. This is the second year doing the program. It started pre-pandemic. They took a little break and they're restarting again. Woodbridge received the silver, and in the next month or so, I expect to receive feedback specific to us and what we can do to continue to improve. And once I get that feedback, I'll be sharing that with both EDC and TPZ so we can figure out how to move forward. EDC is also working on Make Music Day. This is an international festival that happens every year on the summer solstice. That's June 21st. It's a Tuesday this year. And in Woodbridge, it's going to be a really exciting day. The EDC is organizing 6 host businesses: 10 Selden, Coachman Square, Crest Lincoln Car Dealer, the Linden, the Shops at 245 Amity, and the Willows. At each of these locations, most of them are from 5 to 7, but at each of these locations, there will be live music along with other things going on. So there may be art shows, wine tastings, a happy hour, food trucks, a health fair. So there will be a lot going on in a relatively small area in all at approximately the same time. And the goal is to attract people to the business district to shop, dine, try Woodbridge. It's timed specifically to be dinner friendly. So hopefully people will come down and eat dinner locally, and also to try and capture any commuter traffic from people passing through or who work in town. So again, that's June 21, and all the details are on the town website. Excuse me. Also, the town's ad hoc diversity, equity, and inclusion committee is about to wrap up their Experiencing Woodbridge survey. The goal of this is to better understand the concerns and experiences of residents so that the committee can focus their efforts on making sure that Woodbridge is a welcoming and inclusive town for all residents. The link is on the town website, and it will also be included in this week's e-newsletter that will go out on Friday. To date, there have been more than 500 responses, which is a very good response rate. And lastly, I just want to let you all know that I'm starting to work on a redesign of the town website, and I will keep you all in the loop as that goes forward.
Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions or comments for Betsy? Thank you for all of this. Good stuff. Thank you. Okay, I think we can probably get personnel done, and then we'll take a break to do the public hearing. So with that, That is item 11, Personnel Committee, and action is appropriate. Yesterday, there was a meeting of the Personnel Committee, and first item that was brought to our attention was that there is a vacancy, or there will be a vacancy shortly. Pat Swoff is retiring, and Tony did. Maybe Tony, you should go over this. What you did to
Okay.
as personnel director.
Sure. It's the Pat is in our office. She's accountant one is her title, and she's been with the town probably 26 years, maybe. And so she's been with the town a long time, and she's responsible mainly for accounts payable, purchase orders, requisitions, billing, and she keeps track of our insurance, our titles. She's got a whole sort of a hodgepodge of other tasks that she helps us with, but her main focus is on accounts payable. And so that position becomes vacant because there's only three of us, two and a half really, because I dedicate half my time to the administrative tasks. It's a very important position for us. It's very important that we have somebody who's very knowledgeable and who can sort of hit the ground running. So we put an ad out in the and we would like to offer the position to Gay Mastriana. For those of you who know Gay is a longtime employee of the Woodbridge Board of Education, who we work very well with. We think very highly of Gay. She does an excellent job, as does the Board of Ed, I believe, thinks very highly of her. She retired there full-time recently, and she's been working there part-time. And so she has applied for the position, and we would like to recommend her for that job. Because of her extensive experience and really long time with the town, we would like to recommend hiring her at step D of the contract, which is $30.31 per hour. Gay also comes with payroll experience, which could help to cross-train and provide us backup in case our payroll person is unavailable to do payroll. For those of you who are involved in finance, know you have to do payroll every 2 weeks, regardless if people are there or not. So that's always helpful for us.
Yeah, she came and I can add she did pop in a couple times when Pat was out.
Right, good point.
Was able to cover, it was and I think this will be, in my opinion, sort of a seamless transition. Although we'll miss Pat terribly. She's been here and a great friend. So I can report to you that yesterday, approved by the Personnel Committee, the hiring of Gay Mastriana in the rate of $30.31 an hour, effective on or before June, was it 20th?
June 20th, correct.
Okay, forgot to write that part down. Okay, so with that, I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, guys. Any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, I will vote aye. Paul Kyriakos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
That's great.
Yeah.
The second item that came to the Board of the Personnel Committee is Brad Parsons, our building maintenance foreman, had written a memo, which I believe you received today in your packet, regarding Mark Dutka. He was asking for a 35 cents per hour raise. His current wage is $19.88, which I believe is for the part-time custodians. So Brad would like to consider him as, because Mark is full-time, giving him a little bump, which would cost an additional to the town $728 for the year, and it will be funded within the building maintenance operating budget. Maybe you want to add before I tell what the personnel, anything, Tony?
I just want to add that Mark has a lot more responsibility than the part-time, just to the nature of his full-time position. So we felt it was only fair to have a difference in rate to reflect that additional responsibility that he has.
And he covers a lot of other events independent. He's always there. I'm sure we all saw him at the Memorial Day event. He's just great, set up to, it's just, you don't even know that things are happening behind the scenes. They did a wonderful job, and they worked very well getting the annual town meeting together, which was no easy task at the high school. So it was great. So I can say that. Anyone have any questions on this one? I
So
can,
the rate would be $20.23 per hour.
yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say that as part of what the,
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
no worries. The Personnel Committee approved a 35% hour increase to 2023 per hour on approval by the Board of Selectmen. That will be effective immediately, or I guess next week.
Correct.
Yeah.
Next, yeah, immediately, yeah.
Whenever that occurs. Okay. So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Sheila. Any other comments or questions on this? Hearing none. David Vogel,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
Paul Kiriakos,
Aye.
and Beth Heller. Aye. Thank you very much. And lastly, you have in your packet a letter that we received from, unfortunately, the former chairman of the Woodbridge Library Commission, James Moriarty. He retired, had to leave because he moved out of Woodbridge, asking for a, Tony, maybe better explain this because it's a little complicated. How it
Sure.
all came to,
The library chair and the library commission had put in the budget and have requested a $10,000 a year increase for the library director in acknowledgement of the fact that he does a lot of the financial work, which would be payroll and purchasing and accounts payable that they used to have a business manager for. And so they were able to save some money by having the library director do it. So they felt it was only fair to give the library director an increase. They had requested $10,000. The personnel committee reviewed the request, and at this time was comfortable with awarding $5,000, but could possibly review this at a later date.
thank you for that. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Tony, does this also involve like a title change or something appended to the title?
No, I think what they'll do is just update his basically the job description of the library director, but he'll still just remain librry director.
Okay, so that in terms of continuity.
Correct. If someone else comes in, if Eric decides to be the library director somewhere else, we have a new library director come in, that library director will be responsible for that work.
Right, and it's embedded in the position. Okay, thank
Right.
you.
And this one will be effective July 1, 2022.
July 1, correct.
So as Tony mentioned, we did approve this at $5,000 a year beginning July 1 for Eric for his increased duty. So I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kiriakos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you so much. And with that, it is just 6:30. So we will go back to item number 6 on the agenda. It's a public hearing. I have a script, so give me one moment while I move my papers in my book here around. Thank you so much. I will begin reading the script. In accordance with Section 12-632 of the Connecticut General Statutes, the R.E. Van Nordstrom Neighborhood Assistance Act, I now call the public hearing to order to receive comments on the applications received for the 2022 Neighborhood Assistance Act. The legal notice was published in the May 27th, 2022 edition of the Woodbridge Town News and on the town website. The first item, I have to have a motion to waive the reading of the legal notice. Is there so?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on that? Hearing none, I will call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kiriakos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the public present regarding the applications from number 1, the Amity Teen Center at 10 Selden Street for an energy conservation project in the amount of $24,950, or the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, 360 Amity Road, energy equipment restoration in the amount of $150,000? Any comments from the public, Jerry?
There is no public present at this time.
Thank you.
And I received no written comments.
Okay, thank you. With that being said, I now declare this public hearing closed. And then I will make the following motion. I move to accept the following applications for the 2022 Neighborhood Assistance Act and forward them to the Department of Revenue Services for processing. Amity Teen Center at 10 Selden Street and an energy efficient project, amount of $24,950, and the Jewish Federation of Greater New Haven, 360 Amity Road, energy equipment restoration in the amount of $150,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any comments on the motion? Hearing none, I will call the question. David Vogel,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
and Beth Heller, aye. Thank you. And now we will jump back to the next item on the agenda, which it looks like is number 12, approve the cost of living increase for non-union, full-time, and regular part-time employees. And if you just hold with me 1 second, I have a script for that as well. Thank you. I will make a motion to approve the cost of living adjustment of 2.4% for non-union, full-time, and regular part-time employees listed on the payroll as of July 1st, 2022, in accordance with the compensation package for union employees as set forth in the agreement between the town of Woodbridge and AFSCME as to salary and fringe benefits. Is there a second?
Second.
Tony, is there anything to elaborate on this perhaps?
I just want to comment that this mirrors the union agreement, and the board each year has to award an increase to those who are non-union, because that's the authority in terms of salaries and benefits. So.
Any questions for Tony or me? We have a motion and a second. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is to acknowledge receipt of the town clerk's report that are in your packet. Is there a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second it. Okay. Thanks, Paul. Any comments on this? Hearing none. David Vogel,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
and Beth Heller, aye. Thank you. Item 14 is the minutes in your packet. From the Board of Selectmen regular meeting of May 11th, 2022. I will motion approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Does anyone have any comments, additions, changes on the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I will call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kurikos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a resignation. This is a hard one. He's been here a long time and a good friend. We received a letter from Larry Greenberg that he's letting us know that he's been privileged to serve on the TP&Z for the past 13 years and addressed a lot of planning and zoning issues in a fair and thoughtful manner. It's time for me to retire, as I just turned 75. Accordingly, with mixed emotions, I hereby resign from the Town Planning and Zoning Commission effective immediately. So unfortunately, and with deep regret, we must accept this resignation. He will be missed. And now we're up to appointments. We have an appointment for the Woodbridge Board of Education. David Ross, who elected Democrat, has since, I believe, moved out of town. So it was a vacancy. He was able to catch a couple of meetings before he sold his house, but obviously once he left, there was a vacancy for a little while. And a gentleman named Stephen Lawrence, whose resume is in your packet, has been put forward. Someone like to make a motion to?
I can make a motion that we appoint Stephen Lawrence to fill out the term vacated by David Ross.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And David, I think this is an elected position, so it has to be a Democratic position, replacing an elected Democrat, I believe. So do you have, there's no other nominations, I guess. Yeah, so,
We would nominate Sanjay Gupta, who ran for Woodbridge Board of Education. He is a Democrat. And
okay. Thank you. Is there a second? Okay, thank you. With that, we'll call the question, call the question for the appointment of Stephen Lawrence. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kuriakose,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, understood. Thank you. The next appointment, I just have to explain how we got here with this. We have an investment committee in the town of Woodbridge, and I'm trying to begin to look at some of these appointments and make sure everything is as it should be. And in reviewing the investment committee, Article 9 in the, I believe it's the town charter, the committee shall manage, control, invest, and reinvest all trusts and special funds which the town has acquired or herein or after may acquire by bequest, trust, or will otherwise divide. The membership of this committee is made up of, as listed in the charter, a member of the Board of Selectmen, which is appointed by the Board of Selectmen, and that is currently Joe Crisco. A member of the Board of Finance designated by the said board, which is Matt Giglietti, and then the treasurer of the town, which is Alan Rice. It also appears that there are 2 resident members at large. The 3 members are appointed by the board, and then, as I understand it, there are 2 resident members at large knowledgeable in investment to be appointed to the Board of Selectmen. In the past, there was a member from the Woodbridge Board of Education appointed by the Board of Education to be a member of the Woodbridge Investment Committee. And it turns out that the Woodbridge Board of Education no longer contributes monies to the OPED funds. Accordingly, it seems there's no longer a need to have a Woodbridge Board of Ed member on the Woodbridge Investment Committee. Currently, Laura Fernandez serves as one of those members. And I spoke with Lynn Piazzik, and she understands and she's fully comfortable with replacing Jay Daya. Because, as I said, the Board of Education no longer has any contributions to the OPED funds. So with that, I would like to nominate Jeff Kennedy to replace Jay Daya. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Have any other nominations, David? Sorry, you're muted, my friend.
Sorry. No, I don't believe we were aware of that vacancy. I'm not sure when that happened.
Okay. It was really, he didn't need to resign. It was just something that we usually do these every 2 years as part of the process when we do all the appointments.
Beth, can I just say something, Beth? You mentioned that the investment advisory, the investment committee is in the charter. It's not in the charter, it's in the ordinances. So
okay, thank you very much. Thanks for that correction. Okay. All right, thank you. So with that, we have a nomination. Is there a second for for Jeff Kennedy? Did we do that already?
Mhm.
We did, okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So with that, I will call that nomination. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kuriakose,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
and David Vogel.
Yeah, I'm going to abstain. I wasn't aware of this particular vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And with that,
Can I ask a quick question about the OPED trust, just for informational purposes? So are we saying that the Woodbridge Board of Ed obligations to OPEB have been fully funded to this point in
No,
time?
that's not correct.
Okay.
The Woodbridge Board of Education budget does not contribute to the OPEB trust. So the town contributes the full amount to the, well, not the full amount, but an amount to the OPEB trust to cover obligations of the town employees, Board of Ed employees, and police employees.
Okay, but we're not fully funded yet. We're still making
No,
contributions.
we're still making contributions. It's a combination of making contributions and adjusting benefits. So it's more than one way to do that. I'll also point out that in addition to the OPEB trust, which is by far the largest, the second, they also oversee the Noyes D. Clerk Trust, which is a library trust. They also oversee the Common Investment Trust, which is for the cemetery, and a newly created trust, which will hopefully be soon, for the Resident Assistance Fund.
Mhm.
So those funds are much smaller, but still, those are the four trusts that the investment committee oversees on a quarterly basis.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Moving on to item 17, the town council's report. I will call on Attorney Weiner.
Nothing to report at this meeting, Beth.
Okay, thank you. And lastly, item 18 is executive session. I will move that we go into executive session pursuant to section 1-206C of the Connecticut General Statutes regarding security devices related to dispatch. Is there a second? Oh, I will also invite in Tony Genovese and Jerry Weiner. Is there a second? Thank you.
Second.
Any comments on that? With that, I will call the question. Beth Heller, aye. Paul Kyriakos,
Aye.
Sheila McCrevin,
Aye.
excuse me, and David Vogel.
Aye.
Thank you. So we are now in executive session.